So I'm currently in Saskatoon. Flight just landed. Rented this car for the day. I'm basically here for about 6 hours. I am technically here just to sign documents. We're finally refinancing out Cambridge. This was the deal that we put together back in June. Basically, agreement of sale. So basically, meaning it's kind of creative financing. We control the property, and one of the main reasons why I structured it this way is because the delays on the CMHC insurance process. Well, we first had to actually go through an energy audit, which took some time as well. So we went through the energy audit, and then we were able to get the 100 points for the CMHC program, which gives us very favorable financing. So we did end up getting purchase plus improvements through the CMHC insured program. So we are finally closing on that, hopefully by the end of this month. I am here to sign documents with my lawyer. And while I'm here, I'm obviously going to review some of my other buildings. One of them actually is wrapping up on a fire renovation. So I want to see where they are on that process. That one's been taking a while. I'll probably stop into the property management company to see how they're doing. And I have a couple other meetings. Might have some time to look at a couple other buildings, but most likely not. It's currently 10:30, 10:45. So I have actually a few virtual meetings in like an hour. So I'll have to stop at a coffee shop to do those. And then off to the signing appointments. And then all the other building reviews. This is honestly something that I had to do last minute. I was not planning on coming here until next month actually, or actually it's already October 23rd, so I was planning to come here the first week of November because I plan on heading out to Edmonton. So I might have to head out to Edmonton maybe mid-November. So I think that one of the main reasons, well, first of all, the lawyer mentioned it'd be a lot easier to sign all the documents because there's a lot of documents for this deal, just because there's a lot of moving parts. So he said it'd be a lot easier if I came in to sign documents. Usually we do it virtual, but this time coming in would be easier. And I just thought to myself, well, there are other situations I want to kind of look into while I'm here. So it makes sense just to, go in person. I literally booked my flight last night and it arrived a little bit late. I believe it arrived at 9:45. By the time I got the car and everything, just headed out. It's around like 10:15. My flight out is 7 p.m. So I have about until 5:30. I believe it was plenty of time to get everything done. So yeah, I don't think I've been to Saskatoon for a while. Definitely not this year. This is the first time this year I've came back. Usually, I always recommend, if you have a significant portfolio, at least 100 units in a city, you probably want to make, if not monthly checkups, every other month. Because I know when I was doing the renovation project on that 72-unit complex, I try to come once a month. Once they were like half done the project, I came every other month. But it's very good to be present, because what I've noticed is it doesn't matter who you're working with, management companies, contractors, maintenance people. If you're not present, I feel from my experience, work starts to take a toll. The quality of work anyways. I find things don't get done to the level I'm expecting anyways. And quality of the work that they did at the beginning when we first did business, right, when everything was kind of new, was way better. And then if they start to see a lack of presence from you or the owner or anybody in charge, quality of the work starts to slowly go down. I'm not saying that's like that for all companies, but in my experiences, the companies I've dealt with, I've had to actually fire a few companies, management companies, because the quality of work went so far, like it just was horrible. And I maybe not had a factor because I knew I wasn't in the city. So ways to prevent those situations: you can hire a third-party person to kind of check up on them. You can also have in-house superintendents at each property that directly work with you. I've done this before and it's actually worked really well because I've gotten a lot of information, things that I was kept in the dark about, things that I didn't realize. One of the things I noticed when having superintendents at your properties, I would recommend they're hired by you, paid by you, because sometimes property managers hire these people as well. And that's not good because that's technically just another employee of the property manager. You want to hire them directly just because now they report to you, right? If they report to you, they'll also tell you where the property manager is lacking. Because when I hired some of these other property managers, I had the system in place and these superintendents would always tell me, oh yeah, the property manager is not doing this, they're not doing that. They told me to do this, right? Which, sometimes you'll notice it's just to cut corners, save on costs for them, maybe add up costs overall so they can make more money. I've been in a situation like that where the property manager wasn't necessarily saving me any money. I think that's a pretty serious issue when you have someone that you hired and they're supposed to be acting in your best interest and they are not doing that. And that's why you always have to remember a property manager technically works for you and the tenant. So it's actually three people: you, the tenant, and themselves. Because at the end of the day, they are a for-profit business. Since they're a for-profit business, how they make money is multiple ways. Yes, one would be through rents, right? So the more properties they take on and they charge a management fee, the more money they make. They also make money through upselling in terms of maintenance. So for example, they might explain to you that their maintenance cost is $50. They might pay their employees $25. So their spread is $25 on every maintenance hour. Why this is a problem is because now they have incentive to bill more hours. This is why I always recommend having this disclosed at the beginning. You want complete transparency. You want to know if they are basically making money on all the maintenance hours. Some of them might not be that transparent and some of them will, and I'm not saying not to go with them if they do, but you just need to understand that, right? Why? Because if they are doing that, and even if they say they're not, I'd still constantly watch the maintenance hours, because if they are doing that, you want to really, yourself watch them, or one of your employees on your team watch the maintenance hours, because sometimes you'll notice hours that logically doesn't make any sense, right? The maintenance hours to do, for example, change fire alarm. You stated, it was like 3 hours to do that, which you ask yourself, how did that take 3 hours, right? So these are the things you need to kind of watch, because technically that costs $150, right? Which on the grand schemes of things, when you have like decent sized portfolio, it's not that much money. But think about it, that's $150, but technically that should have been $75, because even though that's probably, it only would have taken an hour, $25, but they said it took 3 hours, right? So technically they should only have charged $75 based on the hour amount. But remember, they told you they charge $50 to you, but they're only paying their employees $25. So the management company directly makes another $75 just on that item. And there's gonna be multiple items. This is how they make money, right? This is another way on how they make money. And this is kind of why you definitely wanna be very aware of this stuff. And this is why a lot of, I have other investors, partners, associates that want to bring management in-house because they can control expenses, right? And then they can control the flow of money going in and out, which is, I think it's a good idea, but it also comes with a price and a cost, in a sense where you now will have to hire all the employees and have situations where some employees don't come into work. Then you need to step in and temporarily take on that role until you find a replacement. Because I did property management for years, right? And it's one of those things in real estate I personally didn't really enjoy. I didn't really enjoy being a property manager. It's something that I would definitely do short term, but long term, I definitely did not like doing that. I'd recommend doing it at the beginning so you have a feel for it. Definitely don't recommend ever getting into real estate and just hiring out, because at the end of the day, if the goal is to partner up, I would look at it two different ways. If the goal is to partner up, always have like partners and a team around you, I think you can then get away with that, right? But if you don't have that option and you're kind of starting kind of on your own or with your spouse or whatever, then I recommend getting that experience. Because what will happen is if you don't have that experience and you always try to have a third-party property management company at the beginning, what happens is you kind of create a dependency, right? Because you don't know how to do it. There's always a sense of freedom, a sense of peace when you know how to do something. And worst case scenario, you have to take a property back because of poor management. There's a sense of peace when you know how to do it. There will be a sense of fear, huge fear, if you've never done it before. And let's just say you now have 20, 30, maybe 50 units, and you've never managed properties before. You will now be in a situation where it's gonna be very tough because you've never done it. I would recommend doing it with 1 or 2 properties, right? Going through the systems, learning how to manage a property. So when you're put in a position where you might have to take properties back in the future, and you do it with confidence. I always say property management is definitely very important in this business, especially when you're building a portfolio in different cities, provinces, and then obviously countries too, right? You need systems in place, and finding a good property management company or building out a good property management company with systems is very crucial, because a lot of businesses fail and one of the reasons they fail is obviously cash flow issues, but another reason is because of poor management. That's one of the biggest reasons companies fail, is poor management.